is the situation with workers so far following the increase in petrol price? If you can give us some feedback.
Well, Andy, thank you very much for having me here. I want to say that the situation is something that for us, in fact, I don't know how to describe it honestly. The situation is bad. It's bad. Concerning the workers, I was just last week, one of a very close friend, a worker, he told me how he trekked from Federal Secretariat to he stays at around the port area. He trekked from Federal Secretariat down to Rumukuta in order to see how he can have transport from Rumukuta to Chuba back to his destination. And I asked him one question: so how am I going to do this? He said, as long as this situation continues, that if I continue to pay transport the way I used to pay before, that means my family will suffer. There will be nothing to take care of my family. You know, this is the situation.
What happened?
This petrol price hike for all the level of insensitivity, mindless attitudes of our government. Because considering the fact that the workers and the people of Nigeria have been thrown into unexpected hardship from when the subsidy was announced to move, even though we know they are still paying subsidy, they are announced up to tomorrow. They still pay. They took people into hardship. You know, we have a government that was not prepared for governance. We have a government that came, but they want to try and error. We have a government that feel that Nigerians, they take us for granted. I think this is not acceptable.
All right.
And the level of poverty has increased. It has worsened than it was before because the price of things has increased. Look at transportation. Any drop in Port Harcourt, the minimum transportation you can get is 200 naira. Any drop in Port Harcourt.
All right.
They have not implemented it.
Before we go further,
Even though they implement it, it will not be help the situation because this is not what we expect.
all right. Before we go further, so we don't jump the gun. I wouldn't want us to dive into the minimum wage just yet. Still looking at the petrol cost and the transportation cost and all of that. You talked about a civil servant who had to walk a distance before, boarding a taxi just to be able to make up. We know that the state government had provided for buses at the initial time when we had this problem with the subsidy removal and we began to see the rising inflation in the country. And in Rivers State, one of the things that was done by the state government was provision of buses to help civil servants. How well is that working now?
Well, the buses are there. The buses are working. Thank you, Excellency, for that. But it is not enough. Because, how many people can get into that bus? Imagine the number of workers we have in the state. Remember, the bus is not just for the civil servants. It's for everybody. It was not limited to civil servants, but the general public. So how many people, each of those buses is targeted a particular route. Imagine how many people that transit from each of those routes to their very destination. So it's not still enough. It's a kind of a palliative to cushion the impact for those who will be patient to join those buses. But for those who have emergency or immediate appointment or job they have to meet up, how do they go about it? That means they have to look for other means of transport. But they will not wait for those buses. So this is the situation. So I think while we commend the technology for that, I think it is not enough. Because, like I said, what we are passing through now was not expected. Sometimes the buses where the people are like, okay, we can take other means, we can find other ways of, even though the bus now enter the bus, okay, I can manage the transport. But for now, it's not manageable. People cannot manage to get transport to work. As I'm talking right now.
So
people are tracking.
What about the suggestions? Because I remember Labour had made suggestions about having some days in and days out system even numbers or odd numbers. I don't know which of them would work. Whether it's 3 days in, 2 days off, or is that something that Labour is looking at perhaps presenting to the government, where civil servants could work 3 times or 4 times in a week as against the Mondays to Fridays?
Well, that also helps to save situation. Because if I have to go to work 3 times in a week, I have to plan. I have to plan my transport 3 times a week. We're going to work every day at this time. I'm telling you that the salary will not be enough. I think that will be issues we'll be looking at while engaging also with the government on all of this. Because if you look at the salary as of today, if you pay transport to work, not only the government, even other private sector institutions, going to work by the current state of salary, I think I don't see anybody surviving it. Imagine a wage of we are talking about 70,000, which are not implemented, 30,000. If nobody, if you cannot move, for instance, there is no, if you move from within town, you know the cost of it. 30,000, maybe 20 working days. Maybe not Saturday on Sunday, but those who don't go to work Saturday on Sunday. Imagine the amount. And consider in terms of family upkeep. Even you as a worker, you need to eat to survive. How do you manage all of this?
So if
that also brings us score. If we start to say that maybe in 5 days working days we can do 3 days, that will also help. If also say maybe want to do it, but those who can do virtually, who their job does not necessarily mean they will go to secretary, they can be at home and work.
All right.
Then we can also look at it. Then those who are coming, I think both the private and public institutions should also look at a way to how to push on this part on workers generally. Because it does not affect only the public workers, even the private people with the private institutions too. The kind of a transportation subsidy, even when you have one, I think it's time for us to also negotiate an increase in terms of transportation subsidy regards to this development. Because I think it is not for us. It's a very difficult situation. Every worker now is going through difficult times. Imagine those that are working. Talk about those who are not, who doesn't have a job. What is happening in this country?
So if you're saying this for active civil servants, what about the pensioners, the retirees? I mean, we know that an extra 1 billion was approved to increase the amount of monies that come monthly to settle a backlog. Is that the best that the government can do? Why is it exactly a billion added? Because in these times, if you are saying that active civil servants are going through what they're going through now, then you would only imagine what the pensioners will now be going through, because it's not just transportation. Food in the market is something else. So is Labour not looking at saying, His Excellency, thank you for what you've done, but is it impossible for the state government to say, okay, we are releasing 4 billion every month to settle these issues? Is it impossible for that to happen? And these conversations, have they been held?
Okay, I think such conversations have not been held anyway, like we said right in the last statement. However, I want to first of all appreciate His Excellency, the Deputy Governor of the State, Assembly of Obara. This commitment he did, I will tell you that even with the level, we did not even engage him. Because it's a governor that has understand the pain of the people, even the pensioners also. Don't forget, he's also a civil servant. He came and during the civil service week on the final day, he has increased the 1 billion to 2 billion in order to offset the outstanding payment of pensions and gratuity of civil service university. And I want to tell you that if that has been happening over the years, I know the former governor came with that at the tail end of his administration, that if he started earlier, we won't be well out to do with pensioners. And I want to appreciate this government for starting this on this note. The 1 billion complaint is not enough, and it has increased to 2 billion. So let's see how far the 2 billion can go. Because the idea is to see how we can offset this outstanding gratuity and pension from the pensioners. area of the increase, it affecting everybody. It's not as much people as pensioners. I've told you, what about people that are not even working? Are you thinking about them?
But the labor, but many people are blaming labor for some of these things, because now you're saying people that are not working. But when labor usually would go on protest, people would say, you are protesting for only worker salary and this, and once those ones are settled, we're done. When the major protest should have been, we are not backing down until the refinery is working. And all the promises that government had given, I remember having several conversations with you where I said, you will go now, you have agreed. And you know that this agreement will not work, because the last one you agreed, the thing still did not work. That was why you went on another protest. And then they call you and give you another date and you wait. And the same cycle over and over again. And here we are, still, no refinery is working. Even the brand new refinery that everybody thought would just work, it's looking like in this country, anything that concerns the oil sector might just not work as smoothly as you think. And that's where we are. So when people have said earlier that labor, now you're saying every other person that is not working. But if the protests were targeted at the right things, according to those individuals, they feel we wouldn't have been in this situation now. I'll get your response to this. Let's take a commercial first. So please stay on the line for us. When we come back, we'll continue from here. It is Nigeria Info 92.3 PH on Facebook. Here on the Morning Crossfire. My name is Ifeemi Andrew, and the NLC chairman in Rivers State, in the person of Alex Agwanwor, is with us on the show. So thank you for staying on the line for us. Good morning again.
Good morning, Andrew.
All right, remind our listener that we are live on Facebook at Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. So that's the handle. Join the conversation. Drop your comments, please. It's a live stream, so keep your comments short. I'm seeing some people, Capman, Ife, Focus. I mean, this is an epistle you're sending here. I don't know where to start from. So let's keep it very short and simple. It's a live stream, so we can go through all of them, or the much that we can at least, and it doesn't get overtaken by other messages. This one says Nigeria no longer have any political labor leader, and the present government is taking advantage of that. Minimum wage that was approved behind closed doors that has not been paid in August, as publicly announced by Finance Minister, yet fuel is increasing. Fuel price, you mean? Violet Spurgeon says, I don't like listening to these NLC people. They thought they want to benefit themselves by the agitation of minimum wage increment rather than agitating for reduction in the cost of living. Today, NLC, how far? After the increment, have you received the pay? Are you now not crying with other citizens who are not civil servants? Ogo General Justice says, NLC always looking for trickish way to exempt themselves out of hardship. Politicians are more smarter than they are more smart. We will face the suffering together, since labor is selfish in their demands and never to work for the interest of the general public. Well, some of the messages here, Mr. Agwanwor, already explain the position I was trying to put out to you that the people hold towards labor conversations and protest. And you can see from those messages that a lot of people think all the times labor have been protesting, the really focus has not really been, it's not been hard on the basic things that need to be addressed. How would you I wouldn't want to say defend this, but I would have to say defend this.
Okay, thank you very much. I want to say that for us as Labour, I think this government present administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, we have a lot of lessons to learn out of it. Not only Labour, even the masses too. I think all of us as Nigerians have a lesson to learn out of it. Because I know when this government started, all of us wanted time to give them time, to allow them time. I think another way, this is not time to be playing blinking. This is not time to be saying Labour have not done. But you must understand, Labour is an organized institution. Labour is banned by law. So if we are saying we're going on strike, even there are laws that also regulate strike action. So if we are going on strike and start discussion and we did not go and we engage in meeting discussion, these are legal frameworks that regulate trade unionism in Nigeria. So, but you see, the truth is that for us to achieve, for us to form any formidable position, so we look at what happened in the end bad governance. If the end bad governance was effective as we talk about it, government will not be coming with all of these instruments again. Because for them, they didn't fit threatened because Labour was not there. They didn't fit threatened. But you see, and we already, why we did not join that bad governance protest? Because we have our the post. On how we're going to use some set of persons in order to run in that level, in that bad governance protest. But you can also see that even after we did not participate, you can see government reaction even to level. But that is not the time, that is not even also discouraging us from being able to think it is going to be the right thing. So this government is a government that is so insincere. They lack focus. They don't have the masses at heart. They don't have that show. Look at all the policies that are coming up with. You bring one policy to the other policy to the other, and no one is working. How about this? It's even increasing the situation. The other bad situation in the country. So I think the earlier we we begin to set aside tribalism, political affiliation. So look what someone advert in the APC free station. If you know your APC member, go and buy there now. Everybody is suffering it. Everybody is going through it. Like the minimum wage, we are waiting. Once we get the gazette from our national secretary, we will push for petition. That's what it's about. So government will implement it.
But we heard the national leadership of NLC say they feel like they've been hoodwinked because the minimum wage was on the premise that petrol price would not go beyond what it was. And
yeah, that's true.
But now that that's not the case, are you still going to settle with this same amount that was settled for the minimum wage, or would we see Labour saying, well, if you have shifted grounds, then we also have to shift grounds. We can't stand on this particular agreement anymore?
You know, the minimum wage, in a way, I say we don't have the heart of the masses, or well, we should for ourselves. We also feed on us. After we feed, the letter from the national president, they will feel betrayed. What is the reason? During the negotiation, the government brought a position. They say if you want to fix naira, you are allowed to increase the price of petrol. Then we say no. If we increase the price of petrol, look what is going to be the consequences. Not only on we as workers, but entire masses. And they give us the option. If you want 70,000 naira, we maintain the price of the petrol, and with time, with all the machines on ground, with the promise of the refinery coming on board, the price may even reduce. It was based on that we agreed with 70,000 minimum wage. And this time government have not even implemented the minimum wage, and they are now increasing the price of PMS. No, it is very disheartening. And that we as a Labour Center, we are going to miss, because they were already scheduling a next meeting later from now. That will review the whole situation, and then we'll come out and tell Nigeria this is our position on this. But for me, as I'm talking to you, I'm telling you that we're not going to accept it.
So what about the refinery? Labour had an agreement. The fact there was supposed to be that protest, I think the one that held, and then the one that was supposed to hold, and then the agreement was a committee from Labour and would follow the government to respect the refinery, to see the work done, see the update. The people at the time, I remember we were speaking with Labour, and the people saying, Labour, this protest don't agree until the refinery work. The last time you agreed, nothing came out of it. It ended the same way. And Labour was saying, don't worry, this time it will be different. This time they have assured us, this time they have. And it ended exactly the same way. Now, here we are. And the Port Harcourt refinery is still not up. The Dangote refinery, plenty of politics behind the scenes. We would never know the entire truth about the situation. So, where does that then leave you now, the NLC, when you come back to the same people who have told you before that this is what we are seeing? Are you not seeing what we are seeing?
You know, these are the issues I'm going to put in review, even in our meeting. You know, the issue of refineries going to work is not out of our request.
Because if the refineries worked, we would not even have needed to have the conversation we're having now.
Yeah.
Which would have been and that was why people said, shouldn't that have been the first and major thing the NLC was putting in front, because that was going to affect the overall system, instead of just focusing on a wage that now is even almost very worthless. If you look at the inflation.
When we started our agitation, we didn't start with the wage, if you remember. When the subsidy was removed on May 29, the first letter we wrote was the issue of refinery. And we said the refinery must work. Which government came up that they are taking up palliatives in order to cushion, but which we didn't agree to those measures, because it's going to be a temporary measure that will not even have a solution. But however, Labour is just one institution. I said one thing, that the earlier we come, don't forget, even the one in terms of the military regime, the democracy, the Labour cannot take the glory without the civil society and other Nigerians who also, in collaboration, keep their ground. Because for us, we are funded by law. But if I'm telling you, if all of us come together in terms of fighting this cause, or making our demand to government. I don't think any government can stand up. But because of this proliferation by politicians into the masses, making labor, making them to fight against labor, or labor, as labor is not with the masses, it is the problem we have in Nigeria for today. And the earlier we begin to move from that angle as Nigerians, the better for all of us. We should understand that what we are passing through, nobody in this country is not affected with this petrol price hike. Everybody is feeling the pain. So the area will come together and take a position, and this is how we want it to be, the better for all of us. It must not be left in the hand of labor alone. Everybody must have a role to play.
Okay.
And that is very important.
This one says, I want to ask your guests, if the new minimum wage is now paid, will it reflect on the pay of the pensioners? Smart they don't is asking that. Roundface says, labor at the cause of what we're facing now. That reasons being that they are only concerned with increment of minimum wage and not inflation. When government increases their wages, the government will increase VAT or petrol price. And this has, Roundface, I see your point. This has been a system. I was saying this sometime last week, that if you look at every time that wage has been increased in this country, after the increment of wage, the next thing you see is one policy that would either VAT or increase another thing that would just come up, and the money goes back into the system one way or the other. This one says, good morning to your guests. Andrew, you see, to me, labor is the problem. The group of persons who hijack the mandates of the common Nigerians and pretend to be their voice are nothing but selfish. We the populace don't need anybody called labor anymore. All right, that's on Facebook. Let's go over to the phone lines. How are you coping with the transportation cost? If we add, some will say now, salt to injury, which is not supposed to be the case. Schools resume today. We have teachers who cannot take themselves to school. I mean, that's going too far. In the universities, we hear of students getting loans and student grants, and loans, not grants, and pocket money of 20,000 naira monthly. How well that will be implemented, I don't know, but that's the policy that was said to help cushion the impact before we had this fuel situation. At the moment, that doesn't seem to do anything. But my question would not even be the lecturers. How would they come to the class to teach those students? The teachers in secondary and primary schools across the state who are supposed to resume work today. Has anybody bothered to ask, how would they eat? How would they come to class and stand and shout and talk? They would also have to even send their own children to school. They would have to pay money for school fees. So, in the grand scheme of things, where are we going? What is the next step? You would respond. But let me hear what the listener has first. 0879300081703. Again, 0817-923-0002. 0817-923-0003. Especially, everybody's saying parents, students. What of the teachers? What of the lecturers? Mufasa from NTA Road, let's start with you. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning once again, Andrew, and good morning to the chairman. Well, Andrew, honestly, it is a very, very pathetic situation. A lot of people are really frustrated and concerned about what is going on in this country. Like you rightly said, today schools have resumed, and you could imagine how difficult it is for people to send their kids to school. A lot of people won't be able to send their children to school this time. Many of them are in the house. But my concern is, as I said, so many callers, text message you read, they've raised that concern, is the issue of labor channeling their energy to the right cause. Now, the Port Harcourt refinery, because that was the one that was promised by the government, they told us it will work. And up to this moment, so I don't understand, is labor, because I don't know, labor, they've not given us a clear explanation why they've not put enough pressure on the government to say the Port Harcourt refinery start working. Everything is tied to petrol in this country. So what is labor really doing? What is labor doing about the state of our refinery? It's not time for labor to shut down this country until the refineries start working?
Mufasa is asking that question. Leighton Barry is in Bori. Let's hear Leighton Barry. Good morning.
Good morning, Ifeami Andrew. Good morning to your guest.
Go on.
Yes, Ifeami, I heard you saying the labor leaders always protest just for the interest of their workers.
I didn't say that. I was reporting what the perception about labor protest is.
Yeah. And I want to tell you, Ifeami, that labor has not protested for the interest of workers. If I will ask you, what is the protest? In what way has it impacted the workers? Is it for the minimum wage? Has it been paid? Where have you seen it happen? Even the promotion that was done by the governor, that was approved by the governor, was not done for the interest. It was not out of the agitation of NLC or NOGE in the local government. Governor Simpobra did that out of his magnanimity.
But Leighton Barry, let me interrupt you on that one. Sorry. I think that it should be a commendable thing. You don't need to protest before any of these things are done for workers. Normally, in a sane environment, workers don't need to protest before their salaries are increased. It's constitutional. There's a provision of how it works. So normally, their job isn't even supposed to be to protest. It's to basically have the unions look at the welfare of their workers and do their things within themselves, not to the level where they begin to antagonize government. That wasn't supposed to be the situation. It's not supposed to be the situation.
Yes, I agree with you.
So don't make a case that Labour did not protest. They're not supposed to protest for it.
The Nigerian system has been put in that way that if you don't protest, if you don't demand, they are not there to listen. But when Governor Simpobra came up, he took that upon himself. Even the Labour that were given the responsibility to channel the workers' template, they went and did the wrong thing, and the man sent them back and asked them to do his way so that it will benefit the workers. The problem I want to tell you is that federal government is not responsible for workers' problem. It is the labor that is responsible for workers' problem. And NOGE, go to some local government. The governor has given directive to pay even the arrears for the promotion. Some local government have decided not to even pay the arrears. What they are doing with NOGE, they are just going front and back. Like the canal has not been paid. The 3 months has not been paid. If you pay workers, others were also paying workers, not so. But now, when it comes to implementing the areas of the promotion, not to even talk about the backlog of minimum wage, nothing has been done.
All right.
It is only Anthony and few local government CPC chairmen that have been able to implement that. What is Labour doing? What is NOGE doing?
All right. My guest will respond. You've brought up the issues. He would respond later, Barry. Let's go over to another caller. Chima in Ada George. I'm pretty sure Mr. Agwanwor is taking notes, so we would get the response to those questions. 2 of them coming in now. Chima from Ada George. Good morning.
Good morning, Andrew.
Yeah.
Yes, Andrew. I won't be a party to Nigerians antagonizing labor, because we have responsibility ourselves as Nigeria to be able to come out and demand for whatever we want government to do for us. I mean, we can't keep hoping for labor for crying out loud. You understand? I mean, it's pain me to see people antagonizing labor. Labor has a responsibility for their workers. So if they continue to fight for their workers, let Nigeria fight for ourselves. Is labor the only organization affected with the current economic situation we are facing? So we all are facing the same challenge labor is facing. Why can't Nigeria come out and form a formidable force, a pressure group, and tell this government that this government does not belong to them? The Constitution gives us the right. The Constitution is categorically clear that sovereignty belongs to Nigerians. So why are we putting all our hope on labor? We have the right within ourselves. But I want to ask labor leader there a question. What are they doing right now? What is the result of labor, considering the high cost of petrol? Even with what I'm hearing right now, there's another increase in tax. What is labor doing? Let me stop here, Andrew. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I think we're having some issues with the network because some of the calls keep dropping. We'll take some more, the much that we can. 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0003. While we'll wait on the calls to take maybe one or two more, Mr. Agwanwor, all right, let's come back to you. You heard the last question and the one before. Let's start with those. So,
okay, I think let me start with the last one. Thank you very much. I love the young man that spoke last. That also brings back to my earlier position that labor is not the only workers do not constitute the entire population of Nigeria. We have the responsibility to protect the interests of our members, and the situation applies even to the masses. You see, but the masses now have looked at labor as the only people that can talk. Yes, we agree to that fact. But our voice is very weak when we talk. But I think we also need their collaboration, like I said earlier. When the military junta was fought, it's not only labor. So we are most support the casualty more. My union of time was prescribed as of then. The union was not existing. Government prescribed nothing as of then. Our leaders were all into prison that period. But at the end of the day, we were able to achieve. But the masses were also dispersed in that period. The lot of today masses that were not today. If we do what we did at some time, and tell the masses were having the government to even lock us more in jail, not to even labor leader.
So because of time, we have to call us. Because of time, we can just be very brief and straight to the point. The other caller talked about arrears, payment, saying Noge and labor are the issues.
You see, you mentioned local government. If those persons have not paid, then is it that labor have asked them not to pay? If you want to find out what is happening in your local government and what is the pressure, what is labor doing in that state, that's what you should also find out. Because we have not just talked about this issue. The issue of a promotion, the issue of a local government increase. You are aware on how many times have been in your station. Canvassing for local government workers to get a minimum wage, also to get promoted. You are aware of that. So if the excellency have done a brief of that and said, no, okay, this thing, let me also do it. And we have had communication even offline. It's not about that. Not anyone will go to protest and never are asking for something. We have a relationship.
All right, Mr. Agwanwor. Let's hear from Okonkwo and Rumokuta quickly. All right. Okonkwo, good morning.
Good morning. Brother Kemi.
Yes.
Yes, to my thoughts. Labor organization died after Adam Oshomole. Brother reason well now. And tell me if it were this time were to be the time of Adam Oshomole, tell me what would have happened. So since Adam Oshomole, the labor organization in Nigeria died, and the only active labor leader was Adam Oshomole. So currently we have weak ones. So we are not to depend on them. We are the citizens of the country. We are to fight and get our rights by telling government that we are suffering and people are dying every day. If the citizens look at labor, they will continue in this suffering forever.
All right. Thank you. Kingsley from Eliohani. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Andrew.
Yeah, Kingsley. Let's hear you.
Thank you very much. Please, my contribution is this. The thing is this. I don't know. Like labor, Nigerian labor Congress compromise for me is really, really compromised. So if the particular thing they needed to do was to agitate for how federal government should do this Port Harcourt refinery. They have been promising.
I need to respond to the question before they give more questions.
Well, there weren't more questions. There were no more questions asked. The two people that spoke now, Mr. Agwanwor, with all, if you are being very fair, the two people that spoke now did not ask any question.
of the refinery. Where I'm supposed to answer it.
You've responded to the situation of the refinery, didn't you? We have few seconds. We have few seconds left. What is Labour doing about the refinery in Port Harcourt? We have few seconds left.
Andrew, you agree with me that the refinery in Port Harcourt, the GM of NBC.
We have very few seconds, Mr. Agwanwor. You have to be direct. As Labour
position, Labour has not forgotten about that. Even our last press release, it was part of it.
All right, we have to go for a commercial. We have to take a commercial now.
Diplomat International School is one of the top Christian boarding secondary schools in the city of Port Harcourt.